Hi, everybody. Welcome to our webinar this evening. I'm Shelley Stoddard. I'm the director of FTC, and I'm joined by the Metal Jackets, one of our FRC teams, and they're here tonight for our very last webinar of the season for the Women in STEM initiative. And their theme is "This is a Girl Thing." So all about a STEM initiative to really work on closing that gap that exists for women and non-binary folks. And so, without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to the Metal Jackets and let them take over. Thanks, y'all. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ariana Sky, or Ari, and I am the Vice President and Business Lead of Team 2068, the Metal Jackets.
Ari, why don't you introduce our special guest? First of all, my name is Miss Carol. I'm one of the mentors for them, and we do have a special guest joining us as well.
Joined with us today is the CEO and founder of Pink Space Theory, Miss Monica Nichols. Yeah, so a program that we created to help introduce more girls into the world of STEM and robotics is called #This is a Girl Thing. And so the program was actually started, was actually sparked by an encounter around 3 or 4 years ago now at an FRC event. So what happened was a VIP was talking to us because we are known for our huge female presence of our team, and even a majority of our leadership is female every single year. And so that is something that everyone takes note of. And the VIP was no exception. And so concluding the conversation, he actually asked us if we did girl things too. And that really caught us off guard because it insinuated that robotics and STEM in general was a masculine activity meant for boys. And that's so far from the truth. And so after a little bit of just processing what he asked us, we actually came up with our initiative, #This is the Girl Thing. So in our workshop, or in the program, we host multiple workshops and have hosted multiple throughout the past 3 years. And with the workshops, we teach elementary school girls about mechanical and electrical engineering, as well as programming. And then additionally, we have a banner at all of our events in every single competition that we go to, and we take it for everyone to sign in solidarity. So how we teach the girls, we actually teach them through different little activities. So for this year, our mechanical section, we had them build little hydraulic fighter robots out of popsicle sticks. And for the hydraulic function, we used syringes and little plastic tubes filled with water to act as the hydraulics. For the electrical section this year, we built little water mills, I believe they're called. And what they would do is they were attached to an LED light. And so once the water mills were built and they were placed under moving water, they would actually go on to power the LED lights. And then for programming, we use our spike primes that we have and use for our FL teams we host, and you use them to teach the girls about programming and actually have them program their ways through a little maze. So how we're expanding for the future within the next few years is planning on hosting multiple workshops throughout the course of a year, as opposed to hosting just like one annual workshop. We're planning on hosting one workshop monthly, sorry. And then with that, we plan on teaching them about different types of engineering and sciences, as opposed to just the mechanical and electrical engineering and programming. So things like very basic chemistry, biology, or different types of electrical engineering or different types of mechanical engineering. And then something that we've talked about in our planning for another year is actually a week-long summer camp where we can just teach the girls all about science and STEM. And so there's a huge gender gap in the world of STEM. And one way to actually help close the gender gap is by starting your own workshops. And so here are some different tips on how to close the gender gap by creating your own workshops. So documentation. Documentation is so important because you need to stay on top of everything that happens, all the way from the beginning in the pre and like the baby thoughts, all the way to the end of the workshop when everything is all said and done. So things like who signs up, different materials that are needed, or any funds received are just a few examples of things that should be documented for the workshop. And then taking note of everything. So things like the amount of girls that you've reached with your workshop, and then everything that just goes right or wrong, or something completely unexpected, are just a few more examples of everything that should be taken note of throughout the workshops. Reaching out. So something that we always do, not just for our workshops, but for everything, is always reaching out. We're constantly reaching out to our sponsors, to our school board members, to our political figures that we're in touch with, and just everyone that we possibly can. And so we always like to keep them updated, engaged, and informed on everything that's going on with our team. And so something you can do with your workshop is just keep them informed with it, but then also invite them to help and participate with your workshop. And then one of the last things after everything is done, after the workshop is done, everything else is done, is to sit down and just have a little debrief. Have a little debrief. Just talk about everything that happened, especially from your notes process. This is a really good time to bring whatever notes you took throughout the workshop and just talk about everything that could have went wrong or could have went right, or things that need improving on, or things that shouldn't be touched at all. And then doing this really just helps plan for the next set of workshops that can be hosted and done. And then as mentioned earlier, we actually have our special guest, Miss Monica Nichols, who is the founder and CEO of Pink Space Theory.
All right. First and foremost, I want to thank FTC and the Metal Jackets for giving me this opportunity to share a little bit about our organization. So, Pink Space Theory, we are all about creating a space where girls feel free to tackle challenges, make mistakes, and most importantly, become the best versions of themselves. And of course, here at Pink Space Theory, we are rooting for them to take their rightful place working in a STEM profession. For me, STEM is a girl thing is so important because unfortunately, we would love to see more girls in STEM. And so that's one of the reasons why I think offering this panel discussion and having the girls just share how you too can offer workshops to get more girls inspired. And so for me, as I said before, I am an engineer by degree. And unfortunately, despite the fact that I graduated within the 10% of my high school class, I was in the Honor Society. I actually started off in remedial math class at Michigan State University. And so, as you can imagine, as an aspiring engineer, I felt devastated. But I always say, but with a lot of hard work and a lot of determination and a lot of prayer, I was able to accomplish my dream and become the first engineer in my family. So for me, it's really about letting all girls know that you don't have to be perfect. Oftentimes I hear young ladies when we go into the schools to, offer our programs, they'll say, well, I can't become an engineer because I'm not smart in math. And I always love to share my story because I feel as if it's a testament to let all girls know that you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be a math whiz. You just have to do the work and be willing to press forward when you come up against obstacles, because in life we are all faced with obstacles, but in the end it's all about what do you do? Do you give up or do you continue to plow forward? And that is what our programs are all about, is teaching our girls perseverance, because nothing is easy in life. And if you don't if you're not willing to press forward, you will never become who you can become. And so that's why it's so, so important for us to create a space where girls feel empowered to make mistakes and become the best versions of themselves. And so I would say we love to have young ladies come and share their stories with our girls. The Metal Jackets are doing some amazing things. I told them I wish that I had the great leadership that they did when I was in high school, because it is so, so important to be able to stand in front of individuals and present information. And also, I think when we're talking about the workshops, we're also talking about ways that you can build your leadership skills, because creating workshops that girls can use to help inspire them, learn about different careers is so, so important. Mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, coding are all so, so important. And so being able to grasp those skills, learning through hands-on activities is so, so important. So I would welcome any other group to champion workshops, and also gives you some great skills in terms of program management, because as she described, when you're developing workshops, first you have to really understand what is it that you want the girls to take away. And so what are the goals? And then from that, you have to be able to evaluate the goals. And so, and then also being able to communicate with your stakeholders. And so all of those skills are so, so important, not only in high school, but also in the workplace, because I also do a lot of that in the work that I do here in Pink Space Theory. So you're gaining some very valuable skills that you will be able to take with you as you progress through your high school years, as well as college, and then up through your career. So I want to say thank you to the Metal Jackets. I admire all of the great work that you do. And as I said before, I am one of your true advocates. So if there's anything that Pink Space Theory can do to help further you along, please, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Of course. Thank you so much, Miss Nichols. We really appreciated you and all your feedback and just everything, not just your feedback, but then also everything that you've been able to provide, not just to us, but then also to all First Chesapeake tonight with your words of wisdom and everything that you've said.
So I want to share some other ways that we can close the gender gap. And one of these ways is indeed to start early. In fact, kids that are as young as 6 have started to show that they believe in gender stereotypes in math and science. A lot of girls will say, I'm not good enough at math, just as Ms. Nicole said, and they feel discouraged to join the field. And there was actually a study that showed that a lot of young girls actually believe STEM to be a very respectable and good workplace, but they choose not to join just because they feel that they are not good enough. And so a lot of these notions are perpetuated by microaggressions in teaching, and a lot of these are also coming from activities outside of school. So one of the best ways that we can eliminate this is to create more hands-on activities that don't require as much guidance from a mentor. And while it does sound counterintuitive, this allows the students to explore the activity themselves. And of course, when the teacher sees microaggressions, they can intervene. And sorry, I forgot to define what a microaggression is. It's usually a subtle and indirect kind of discrimination towards a marginalized group. And so it usually discourages them from entering certain fields. And so how we can do this is to create more story-based activities for children. And so they design things on their own and create more imaginative areas of study. Outside of these kind of activities and education, there's also more media representation that needs to be changed in order for young girls to have a better perception of themselves in STEM. One of these is in learning materials such as textbooks. We often see that there's a lot more men that's represented in like engineering and physics textbooks, as well as like media representation in movies, in a lot of TV shows, oftentimes these STEM workers are all men. And this further pushes the idea to young girls that they don't belong in that field. So one of the ways that we can remedy this is to push more female representation to young girls. And this can help to encourage them to pursue what they enjoy. And even if they hadn't had thoughts of joining STEM before, by introducing them to these activities, they can be more interested and have more interest in joining this field. So outside of this, there's also some systemic issues that happen in workplaces. So women are often expected to do administrative roles in research facilities. And so oftentimes they're expected to write down meeting notes, they're expected to plan or organize things that are outside of what their duties are asking them to do. And this hinders them from creating more representation for themselves in the field by publishing more studies, by doing more research. And so some of these things should be remedied by, creating more gender equitable policies that not just are gender neutral by creating equality between how men and women are treated in the workplace, but by addressing the specific things that are hindering women from closing the STEM gap.
Well, Jasmine, that was awesome. So we didn't introduce Jasmine. Jasmine's our mechanical lead for our team, and obviously she had a lot of fabulous information to share. Wow.
Thank you so much. That was really interesting. I actually have some questions, if you guys don't mind. So I want to start with Miss Nichols because I loved hearing your story about how when you went off to school and you were put into a remedial course and how that really adjusted your view of self. And so I wonder, much like the Metal Jackets are inspiring youth for the future and hopefully helping to close out that gap, who was someone in your life that inspired you to sort of push through and persevere in those situations?
Thank you for that question. So my mother is really the strong role model that I look to. Despite the adversity, she never gave up. I think that's really a characteristic that my whole entire family has, is that whenever something difficult is presented, we just plow forward. We're the type of family that no matter what, we are just going to do our very best. And even if the outcome is not what we hope for, we still believe that in the end, as long as you've given it your all, then you should be happy and satisfied with your efforts. And so to me, I think it's my mother who actually served as that role model, to not let anything get in your way, give it your all, do the very best that you can, and then just stand on it.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Now I'm going to turn over to the Metal Jackets because your program, This Is a Girl Thing, is both inspiring, but also something that sounds fun and likely easily able to be implemented with the right timing and practice, right? And like getting things all organized. So I wonder, I actually have two questions. So I'll give one to Ari and I'll give one to Jasmine. So one is I'm coming to you, Miss Carol, don't worry. How do you come up with your activities for your program? So Ari, maybe take that one.
Yeah. So for our activities with our program, often what we'll do is we'll reach out to our different bucket leads of each section. So like our mechanical bucket lead, our electrical bucket lead, we'll ask them if they have any ideas. And if they do, we'll make like a little list and just compare all ideas. But we'll also turn to social media and the internet. So like for inspiration, things like Pinterest or Instagram, see if there's any inspiration, any cool projects we feel that we could pull and derive from. from those websites. So yeah, a bunch of inspiration and just comparing each other's ideas and seeing what we feel will be best fit for the season or for the year.
That's awesome. And then my other question is, so you clearly have a well-run program and initiative. How do you market your initiative to the greater community in order to get the girls to show up? Jasmine, can you take that one?
So we actually outreach to all of the elementary schools in our area. We send emails to the teachers at those schools, and we also make sure that there's flyers all around the school so that the young children can see that we have this program and we want them to join. We also send not only do we send emails and go directly to these schools, we also post it on social media and make sure that all of our members are sharing it on their platform. And this just allows us to reach, younger children, younger siblings of older children that are interested in STEM. And this also allows us to reach closer into our community, especially our school. And so the people that are following us on Instagram will see these outreach messages, and they can bring their younger siblings into our program.
That's fantastic. I love the idea of direct and targeted emails to the schools and the teachers in order to bring in that population of kids. So, Miss Carol, my next question is for you. As a longtime coach and mentor of a team that really has made this a focus, what is some of the benefits of making this a priority that you've seen on your team? Because I think mentors and coaches watching may want to do something like this, but they're probably going to want to know, like, what's the benefit?
I have seen a number. Thank you for that question too. And I did want to say one benefit is to see the number of our students that our team has grown in numbers, but the number of females on our team has grown as well. So we were sitting at 2 students when I first came on, female mentor came on, and then all of a sudden there's more and more girls that are coming on because they see the adult in their world as an that's a female, and then they start bringing in their friends, and then they bring in friends, and then we're at 70% female, right? So this is how our team grew with the female. But what I love is, that saying of breaking the glass. Like, I have students that parents didn't think their daughter should do robotics because it was not something girls traditionally do and didn't let them do robotics in middle school. And so now these are the girls that are now going into mechanical and electrical engineering and computer science and whatever STEM activity, think biology, nursing, any of those things, they may not have thought they wanted to do that. So I think surrounding themselves with other like-minded people, the students, mentors will inspire them to do these kind of things. And that's why we reached out to Pink Space Theory, because they're a partner with us for many years, but they also helped us find children that may be interested in this, because no one pays for any of our camps. No one has ever paid for them. So they're free, because the kids raise the money or we get sponsors so that no one has to pay. We really do try to hit the Title I student population, the free and reduced lunch kids, because maybe they don't have the same opportunities as some of the other kids that are from more affluent areas. So for me, when I see my kids succeed in an area where they didn't think they could, or do something that they didn't think they could, like math, or anything like build something, or CAD, like Jazz learned some amazing CAD skills this year. Like, I love to watch them grow and succeed on their own and just learn from that. So that's my favorite story.
Thanks, Miss Carol. I mean, it's really truly inspiring. Like, you all, because not only are you guys working to, close the gender gap and have clearly been able to do that very incredibly. I mean, the on first teams right now, for those watching, we're at about 30% female on robotics teams and 70% male. So if you've got a team that's 50% or greater, that is quite impressive, because you really are flipping the script in terms of that statistic. I also just want to highlight the benefits that you're mentioning that are being brought to not just closing that gender gap, but also reaching populations that may be under-resourced, underserved. That's really impressive. And so kudos to you guys for the work that you're doing. I just want to thank everyone for being here this evening. This has been a great initiative to learn about. I encourage those of you out there watching, if you have questions, you can reach out to me at First Chesapeake, and I can get you connected to the Metal Jackets. You can look them up online; they're all over the place. But take this as a an initiative for you to take on and start working towards making your robotics team a girl thing too. So thank you so much.